So the question is, for recently graduated in Brazil or in your country of origin, how works the search of job in Australia? Well, nowadays the situation obviously depends on the economic situation, and unfortunately, currently the situation is not very good here in Australia because of pandemic. There's a lot of unemployed people, and certainly there's a lot of unemployed engineers as well. So if you are just recently graduated in Brazil and then you want to find a job here in Australia, I would say that's going to be very difficult. And I'll be honest, because if you just graduated, it means that you're probably not specialized in a particular area. And here in Australia, there are lots of engineers. I think a civil engineer. Are you a civil engineer or whatever engineer you are? There are several engineers, graduated engineers here in Australia, graduated in Australian universities that they already obviously validated and qualified here, that they will be looking for jobs as well. So you will be competing between yourself, graduated in Brazil, and a graduate engineer that graduated here in Australia. And the fundamental difference is that the engineers that are graduated here in Australia, um, most certainly they are already validated by Engineers Australia. They are recognized. They can become members, and you are not, unless you are graduated from the Federal University of Minas Gerais, and then you have a particular visa that you can talk with your migration agent, that you can then work here as an engineer without having to do all the validation process. But that's for a temporary visa, so you've got to be able to talk to your migration agent. But if you are not graduated from the Federal University of Minas Gerais, it means that you need to do your CDR process, your competency demonstration report, and then get your engineering degree validated here in Australia. So if you apply, let's say that you go to seek.com.au and then you find a job for graduate engineer. If you apply for that position, the recruitment company or the employer, they will see your resume, and then they'll see that you graduated in Brazil, and they can ask, have you validated your qualification here in Australia? And if you say sorry, no, and they'll say sorry, but then we are after somebody that is validated here in Australia. Yeah, some companies they may not ask that question, but majority of companies and reputable companies, they will ask you if you have already validated your engineering qualification here in Australia. So I'll be honest with you, Wagner, um, the chances are probably very little